Raider Nation, things are heating up in Las Vegas. The front office traded Jacoby Myers to the Jaguars, Pete Carroll fired back at critics of his offense, and a call from the Green Bay Packers sent shockwaves through the locker room. Major roster impact, some heavy words flying, and a tense exchange with Sean Payton that's got fans buzzing. Stick around because this last story hits hard. But before we break down every twist of this wild week, real quick, hit that subscribe button. It's completely free and it helps keep this silver and black community rolling. Drop a like too, so YouTube spreads this talk to even more Raiders fans out there. And jump in the comments. This space belongs to every single member of the Raider Nation. Let's start with the bombshell. Jacoby Myers is no longer a Raider. That's right. The wide receiver has been traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the news hit the locker room like a ton of bricks. Myers had been asking for a trade since before the season began, and the front office finally pulled the trigger. In return, Las Vegas got a 4th round and a 6th round pick. A deal that, to be honest, feels more strategic than football-driven. The front office's message is clear. Stock up on draft capital and start reshaping the roster. The timing, though, is rough. The move came right before the trade deadline, catching a lot of players off guard. And to make it worse, this came right after a loss to Jacksonville. Hard to deny this one rattled the team's chemistry. Myers was in the final year of his contract and had made no secret of his frustration with the offense. 33 receptions, 352 yards, 0 touchdowns in such a predictable offense that frustration was bound to boil over. Now he's heading to a playoff hopeful in the AFC South, catching passes from Trevor Lawrence, a real shot at reviving his season. For Jacksonville, it's a big relief, and that receiver room has been crushed by injuries. Travis Hunter is on injured reserve, Brian Thomas Jr. is nursing an ankle, and Diami Brown went down against the Raiders, so Myers will step right into a starting role. But for us, the bigger question is what this says about Las Vegas's long-term vision. It looks like John Spytek wants to clean house of veterans and build around youth. Makes sense if you're looking ahead to 2026, but it also feels like the start of yet another rebuild, and Raider fans have seen that movie before. The bright side, young guys get their shot now. Rookie Jack Beck should see more snaps, and tight ends Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer are about to become the focal point of this passing game. The coaching staff needs to get creative fast to keep the offense alive. And for fantasy football owners, Myers' stock just went up. Expect more targets, more volume, more chances. But for Raider Nation, this one stings. Another talented player shining somewhere else. Drop your thoughts below. Wartsow, was the trade fair or did they sell low? Because this move's impact goes way beyond stats. And wait till you hear what Pete Carroll said about the offense after this shakeup. Then came the comment that split the fan base. Pete Carroll was asked about the ridiculous imbalance between the pass and the run, and his answer left fans stunned. Against the Jaguars, Geno Smith threw almost 40 passes, while Ashton Jeanty ran the ball only 13 times. To be honest, that math just doesn't make sense. This offense looks like it's still searching for an identity. And the worst part? Carroll said he's not worried. He claimed the team just needs to keep moving the ball. That balance comes at the end, and that the second half performance was good enough. But Raider Nation, how can you not worry when your quarterback leads the league in interceptions and your run game is practically non-existent? The truth is, this offensive plan is draining the team. The defense stays on the field too long, the offense burns no clock, and fatigue takes over. The result? Late game collapses. The staff seems convinced Geno can win every game with his arm, but the numbers just don't back that up. Sure, the offensive line deserves blame. Run blocking has been brutal, but that's no excuse to abandon the ground game entirely. A balanced team runs even when the gains are small. It keeps defenses honest and opens up the play action. Carroll mentioned Brock Bowers' return opening up the field, which is true, but that's not the point. Nobody's doubting the receivers. The issue is predictability. Fans want to see identity, toughness, that signature silver and black edge. Even the women of Raider Nation are calling it out. The community's tired of watching the same pattern. Hot start, long drives, and then the lights go out. And when the coach says he's not concerned, you can feel the locker room tension rising. Carroll's confident, sure, saying the big runs will come. But right now, this offense looks lost. If they don't adjust soon, not even Bowers and Jeanty will save this ship. And hold that thought, because the next story involves a trade call that could have ripped apart the team's future. Spoiler, this time the front office made the right call. Right after Myers was shipped off, another call came in, and it set off alarms everywhere. The Green Bay Packers reached out to ask about Michael Mayer. Yes, the young, promising tight end who's supposed to be a cornerstone for the future. But here's the good news. The Raiders didn't even think twice. They shut it down immediately. Trading Myers was already bold, but moving Mayer? That would have been a total disaster. The kid's one of the pillars of this rebuild, part of the new offensive identity. After that Jaguars game, he had the second most targets behind Brock Bowers. Proof of how important he's become in Chip Kelly's system. Green Bay had a reason, though. Tucker Kraft tore his ACL and is done for the year. The Packers are fighting for the NFC North and needed a quick fix. But for Las Vegas, it made zero sense to move a young, cheap talent still on his rookie deal. GM John Spytek made the right call. He's focused on the future without gutting the young core. Tyree Wilson, Trey Tucker, Michael Mayer, and Brock Bowers. That's the foundation. You build around it, not tear it apart again. Raider Nation has lived through enough rebuilds already. What's interesting is how fast that call came after the Myers trade. It shows how the rest of the league watches closely. When a team starts moving pieces, the Sharks start circling, but this time the Raiders stood firm, and that deserves credit. Mayer has one more year left on his rookie deal and could even earn a short extension if he keeps developing. He's that rare mix of physicality and football IQ. And lining up with Bowers in those 12 personnel sets, the ones Carroll's been praising, could be a nightmare for defenses. This was a strong message. The Raiders aren't holding a clearance sale. You can look toward the future without burning down the present, and that's what fans want to see, and not just draft picks, but keeping the guys who bleed silver and black. And stick around, because this next point digs even deeper into what the Myers trade really meant and how it could reshape the entire offensive philosophy. Here's what many fans still don't realize, that Jakobi Meyers trade runs deeper than it looks. Beyond the numbers, it's a statement move. The Raiders decided to be sellers before the deadline, signaling that the front office is thinking long-term. But it also flips the offensive dynamic completely. Without Myers, the field opens up for Jack Beck to finally take over. No more hesitation between the rookie and veteran Tyler Lockett. The direction is clear now: youth and speed. Pete Carroll confirmed it in his presser, saying he wants Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer on the field together in 12 personnel looks. And honestly, that's the right call. He reminded everyone that was the plan from the start, and now that Bowers is healthy again, the duo's importance is obvious. Carroll praised Brock's game-changing ability and highlighted Mayer's versatility, saying their chemistry is key to the new design. The offense is being rebuilt, and the Myers deal was the trigger. But let's be real that this one hurts emotionally too. Myers was loved in that locker room. He had respect, a voice, and that wear the silver and black with pride attitude. His exit leaves a void both in production and leadership. And in a locker room still searching for its identity, that matters. Financially, though, the move creates cap flexibility and opens room to climb the 2026 draft board. But as fans keep pointing out, draft picks mean nothing if they don't turn into results, and recent history hasn't been kind there. Bottom line, the Raiders are trying to reset. A younger roster brings energy, but it also demands patience. And let's be honest, patience isn't what the Raider Nation is made of. This fan base runs on passion, grit, and legacy. They want fight, not projects. And for anyone thinking the storm was over, think again. Pete Carroll had some bold words aimed at Sean Payton that lit up the week ahead of Thursday Night Football. Let's get into that. And to wrap up this wild stretch, the spotlight shifts to Pete Carroll versus Sean Payton. Raiders and Broncos go head-to-head on Thursday Night Football, and even with opposite records, the tension is real. Carroll talked about facing Payton, and as usual, he didn't hold back. He praised his rival, but if you read between the lines, there was a little jab in there. Carroll said Payton's teams have always been physical, that they run the ball well, and that they're coached to the finest detail. But the tone, Raider Nation, it felt like a subtle challenge. Carroll knows the Broncos are hot, leading the AFC West, but he also hinted that his Raiders still have something to prove. The contrast couldn't be sharper. Payton's reaping the rewards of a fast rebuild. 7 wins, 2 losses, full confidence. Meanwhile, Carroll's trying to rebuild from the ground up. Still, he made one thing clear. In a divisional game, the records don't matter. And that's where the silver and black spirit comes in. Brock Bowers spoke after the loss to Jacksonville and wore his heart on his sleeve. 12 catches, 127 yards, 3 touchdowns, yet frustration all over his face. He said, "You can't celebrate anything when the team loses," adding that they're still finding their identity. That's the mindset you want. Geno Smith echoed that energy, calling Bowers one of the best players in the NFL, saying he makes the job easy for everyone, and crediting his insane ability to open up the field. That connection might be the key to pulling off a shocker against Denver. Nobody's pretending it'll be easy. The Broncos are rolling. But rivalry games are different. When the silver and black take the field, records don't mean a damn thing. It's about pride, intensity, and proving Las Vegas still carries the Oakland soul. So buckle up, Raider Nation. This game isn't just another matchup. It's a gut check. And judging by Carroll's words, he's sending a message not just to Peyton, but to anyone doubting that this team can still fight back. At the end of the day, Raider Nation, this week summed up everything that defines the silver and black and chaos, emotion, and that relentless drive to rise again. Jakobi Meyers is gone. Carroll doubled down on his plan. The roster shifted, and the locker room felt it. But through all the noise, you can sense a team searching for its soul again. That's what being a Raider is. Falling, fighting, and standing tall again. Drop your thoughts below. This space belongs to everyone living this wild ride called Raider Nation. Because just when you think you've seen it all, another twist hits. Just win, baby.